Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom. Bim bam bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam, bim bam bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom. מה יפה היום, שלום שלום. 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 שבת שלום, שבת שלום, שבת 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 שלום, שבת שלום, שבת שלום, שבת 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 שלום.
Good evening, Shabbat Shalom, and welcome to Temple Emmanuel of South Hills. Whether you are with us in virtual community on this snowy, cold Pittsburgh evening, or whether you are one of the few and the proud and the brave who are with us in the room, I'm excited to celebrate Shabbat with you this evening. That opening song, that version of Bim Bam from Alana Jagoda, preview of coming attractions, if you will. She and her husband, Saul K, will be joining us at the end of the month, and we're so excited to have them with us, and we're excited to have you with us in community that Friday evening, that Saturday evening for Havdalah, and a concert she'll be with our Torah Center program on Sunday. Just a wonderful musicians and residents weekend. But we're really excited this evening to have with us student Cantor Sierra Fox leading us in song and in prayer, beginning on page 10 in your prayer books, Hine Matov, how good it is we can be together tonight.
הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה, הנה, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים. אוי אוי אוי, שבת אחים גם יחד. שבת אחים גם יחד.
And I'm so excited to invite you to turn to page 2 and 5 as we bring some additional light, some additional warmth into this space. It's my pleasure to invite forward one part of our 3rd grade teaching team, and I suppose one part of our 6th grade teaching team. Melinda Freed will lead us in these blessings beginning on page 2.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
And we turn now in our prayer book, words of Kiddush, the sweetness of Shabbat, on page 5. If it is comfortable for you to do so, I would invite you to rise.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila L'mikrae kodesh, zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim, kivanu v'acharta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat Yahava uvratzon hinchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat.
Hi.
L'chaim, the sweetness of Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, and thank you. You're welcome to be seated as we turn in our prayer books, page 12. On page 12, we find, page 13, on page 13, and then on page 14, the Hebrew and English Shir Hadash. Let us sing a new song unto God.
Shiru Adonai kol haaretz, Shiru Adonai shir chadash, Shiru Adonai kol haaretz, Shiru Shir Chadash. Sing unto God, all the earth, a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God, and we'll all sing along. All the earth, a new song unto God. Shiru Adonai kol Shiru Adonai shir chadash. I will sing unto God a new song.
We turn now in our prayer books, pages 20 and 21, as we continue with Lecha Dodi, welcoming Shabbat, hoping that the day doesn't flee from us with the setting of the sun on this cold evening, but inviting Shabbat in to infuse our spirits with a sense of richness, with a sense of peace. We invite you to sing along with us.
Lecha lecha dodi, likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. La 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 la. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Ishmi'anu el hamiyuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad. L'shem ultiferet v'liti la 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 la. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, Ki hi mekor haberacha, Merosh mikedem nesucha, Sof ma'aseh b'machshavat chila la 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 la. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri, kiva orech, kumi ori, shir daberi, kvod Adonai alayich migla la 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 la. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, Gam b'simcha u'v'tzola, Toch emunei am segula, Boi chala. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. La 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 la. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nekavela.
I invite you to take this opportunity to turn to the people around you to wish them a Shabbat Shalom, to use the online comment feature to wish everyone who is with us on Facebook and YouTube in the virtual space a Shabbat Shalom. We're so glad everyone is here. And I invite you to take your seats as we continue our greeting words of Shalom Aleichem, page 24 in our prayer books.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bochem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bochem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bochem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzidchem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzidchem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzidchem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
We turn in our prayer books now to page 26 as we continue with our Chatzi Kaddish prayer.
Yitkadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbi.
Amen.
Ve'amad yivrach yirutei ve'amlich malchutei. B'chai echon uv'yom bechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael. Bagala, bagala, uv'izman kariv v'himeru. Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabba mevarach ve'alam u'almei almaya yitbarach yitbarach yishtabach yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitala Shemei d'Kodesha
Brichu.
Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tush birchata v'nechemata damiran be'alma v'himru. Amen.
page 28, our Baruch Hu praise, our call to worship, our chance to stand, to stretch, if you are able, that we might prepare to join in song and prayer for the central portion of our service. Would you join me now on the bottom of page 31? This is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us, shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. And on the top of page 33. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. And as our service continues on page 34 and 35, Addie, can I invite you forward at this time? Might make it a family affair here as we prepare for our Shema. I'm going to turn the microphone this way. Come on up here. This way you have a place to set your prayer book. And step right up there so everyone can see you, and this microphone will let them hear you. As together we join in these sacred words, pages 34 and 35. You guys ready? Do you want to count down? In 3, 2, 1.
Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kivon Malchuto Le'olam Vaed.
Thank you so much for coming up and joining us, leading us in that prayer. And I invite everyone to find their seats as we continue page 36, words of Ve'ahavta.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha v'chol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavcha Hayom al levavecha, l'shinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, b'shivtecha b'veitecha, u'v'lechtecha v'derech, u'shokbecha u'v'kumecha, u'kshartam lehot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot ben einecha, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
On pages 40 and 41, as we prepare for our Michamocha praise, will you join me in the words on page 41? Sing the song of men and women, join in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come, the song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, the song of peace.
Mi kamocha bailim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar bakodesh, nora tehilot osefele, nora tehilot osefele. Malechotecha reuvanecha, ukeyayam livnei Moshe uMiriam, zelianu ve'amru, zelianu ve'amru, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed. Yai lai lai la lai la 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 lai la lai, yai lai 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 la lai la lai, yai lai la lai lai, yai lai lai la lai, yai lai 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 lai.
On the bottom of page 42, we see a footnote in our prayer book that says that our Hashkivenu prays following a reading from Seder Rav Amram, the first known comprehensive prayer book around the year 860. If you're joining us for Torah study tomorrow morning, we're going to be looking at a text made popular in the prayer book right after his, that of Rav Sadia Gaon, that has made its way from our Rosh Hashanah liturgy into our weekday liturgy as an opportunity to look at things maybe the rabbis weren't so fond of, and yet still became Jewish practice in this give and take that is Jewish normative practice and community. I invite everyone to join us on Torah study tomorrow morning, immediately following our Shabbat morning services at 8:30, Torah study at 9, to understand what on earth I could be talking about. But for tonight, let me just give you that chatima, that signature, that essence of the blessing. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. And then on the top of page 44, we find words of Vishamru, remembering that this day, this opportunity to rest, hopefully from shoveling, if I read the weather correctly, but from all of our workaday world concerns, this opportunity to remember the origins of that tradition, our covenant with God. Shabbat, page 44.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
An English reading on page 47 before we begin our Amidah. In an envelope marked personal, God addressed me a letter. In an envelope marked personal, I have given my answer. With the feelings we hold in our hearts, we rise, if it is comfortable for you to do so, as we prepare first for the traditional words of prayer, and then for that which can only come from each of us. We join in the start of our Amidah, page 46.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avoteinu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, U'Mevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, צומח נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו, איש עיני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
I invite you now to continue with the words through page 62 in our prayer books. continuing with these traditional prayers of the Amidah, or adding the silent prayers and meditations, the reflections that can only come from each of our own hearts. When you have finished your prayers, I invite you to be seated.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו
For our Mishaberach Lecholim, our prayer for those who are ill and in need of God's healing presence and humanity's healing touch, we turn to page 253 in our prayer book, and we bring to mind all this evening we are thinking of in need of a sense of healing, a healing of mind, of body, or of spirit. If there are those you are thinking about, if you're with us in the virtual space, I might invite you to use the comment feature or simply to share their name aloud in the space you are in, even if it is only you hearing it, reinforcing the message that we have the ability, the rabbis teach, to to take away 1/60th of the pain of one who is suffering when we reach out, when we call, when we text, when we bring over some chicken soup or vegetarian soup, if that is your thing, when we extend that measure of kindness and compassion. And if you're with me in the room, I would invite you to share those names you are thinking of in our prayer for healing tonight.
Andrea Pearl.
Baruch atah Adonai rofeh hacholim. Blessed are you, God, who brings a measure of comfort to all who are ill. And together we say, Amen.
Misheberach avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu mekor habracha avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Progress, not perfection. I was delighted to speak this week with Nick Haberman. Nick is a teacher at the Shaler Area High School here in Pittsburgh and has done some amazing work teaching his students about the Holocaust. His efforts have grown far beyond one classroom and one school, though he continues to make a tremendous impact in the classroom, to the Light Education Initiative, an acronym for Leadership Through Innovation in Genocide and Human Rights Teaching. Moral of this story, Nick is at the forefront of teaching kindness and compassion through the lens of history and with an eye to the future, and Pittsburgh is better for his presence. On the wall behind Nick during our Zoom call was a sign that read, "Progress, not perfection." I'm also pretty excited for a conversation that we're going to be hosting in 2 weeks. Dr. Ali Michael, a renowned diversity educator who grew up here in Mount Lebanon, will be joining us for Shabbat services on Friday, February 18th. She works with schools and organizations across the country to help make research on race and whiteness and education more accessible and relevant, and will be doing programs with early childhood programs with the Mount Lebanon School District, with many houses of worship throughout the long weekend. Area clergy had a chance to talk to Dr. Michael about our hopes for her time with us and in our community. And one of the main takeaways she suggested we focus on was, I kid you not, progress, not perfection. When we're having difficult conversations about race, about gender, about sexual identity, about religion, and even more, when we're having difficult conversations, it feels like there is a significant barrier to entry. Even people who have learned and are trying to get better are afraid to engage for fear of saying the wrong thing, even though we hope that it comes from a good place. Happens to be all of the time, and I suspect I'm not alone in this. Dr. Michael's point, which she will expand upon far more eloquently when she is with us in 2 weeks' time, when she's talking about her journey to Judaism and the intersection between Jewish values and her work, is that the worst possible outcome is that good people are afraid to engage in the conversation for fear of missteps. We can't let perfection be the enemy of progress. We will goof up. We must learn. We must get up and try again to make meaningful change. We must strive for progress, not perfection. Whoopi Goldberg really stepped in it this week, didn't she? On the ABC program The View, Goldberg said, and I quote, "The Holocaust wasn't about race and was instead about man's inhumanity to man." She saw the Holocaust as happening between two groups of people she identified as white and expressed her belief that race had nothing to do with it. The Jewish world was quick to point out her fallacy. As Jonathan Greenblatt from the Anti-Defamation League taught her, the Holocaust was about the Nazis' systematic annihilation of the Jewish people, whom they deemed to be an inferior race. Goldberg then went on The Late Show that evening and doubled down on her black versus white definition of racism from her own lived experience. Despite her last name, at least the stage name that she has taken, I'm guessing Goldberg hasn't had the opportunity to study the rabbinic maxim, Elu ve'elu divrei Elohim chayim, which basically, in modern parlance, means yes. Both of these experiences can be true. Goldberg's definition of race from her lived experience is correct. The Jewish community being targeted as a race by the Nazis is also factually accurate. Both are equally true and horrific without detracting one from the other. On Tuesday, she went on the air with a very different understanding of her error. I said something, I quote, that I feel a responsibility for not leaving unexamined because my words upset so many people, which was never my intention, she said. And I understand why now. And for that, I am deeply, deeply grateful because the information I got was really helpful and helped me to understand things differently. Know better, do better. Taking Goldberg at her word, she received the feedback and the information that helped her to expand her knowledge base and understand things differently. And that's exactly what I would hope for anyone, for all of us, when we make a misstep. We identify the challenge, we learn more, and if we're in the wrong, we humbly admit that we are always learning more and that we've made a mistake. Progress, not perfection. And I'm grateful, actually, to Whoopi Goldberg for modeling that for us in real time. We don't know how this story is going to end. ABC subsequently suspended her from the air for 2 weeks, with the president of ABC News saying, while Whoopi has apologized, I've asked her to take some time to reflect and learn about the impact of her comments. And I stand here tonight holding my breath. I hope that Goldberg continues to exhibit the character she has already displayed and truly does just that, to learn and reflect and not grow bitter that she has done everything right after her misstep and was still punished. We all make mistakes. We can't not engage for fear of them. We must be willing and with open heart to engage in spite of them. There's too much work to be done. I hope you'll join us in 2 weeks for that learning with Dr. Ali Michael. I hope the Light Education Initiative will continue to make an impact in the Mount Lebanon School District and all of the surrounding area. I hope we can find the courage to do what Whoopi Goldberg did when we too make mistakes. Learn more, know better, do better. It's about progress and not about perfection. Shabbat Shalom. As we turn back in our prayer books this evening to page 282, it is my pleasure to invite Anna forward, if you are still willing. She's like, oh, I thought you forgot about that. To join us as we open the Ark Aleinu l'shabeach on the bottom of page 282, and if it's comfortable for you to do so, I would invite you to rise at this time.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'Adon hakol, v'teitiru l'yotzeh b'reshit, shelo asanu tigli haratzon, v'lo samanu k'mishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu k'chol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, lifnei melech, malchei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol haaretz, hayom hahu yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo
I invite you to be seated as we turn in our prayer books to page 294, preparing for words of Kaddish Yatom by remembering all those upon whose shoulders we stand this evening. We mourn the loss of Michael E. Kelly, who was laid to rest in recent days, and observe the period of Shaloshim for George Goodman and Fred M. Rock. This Shabbat we commemorate the yahrzeit, the anniversary of the passing of Henry Bessinger, Leo Bergsman, Arthur Thomas Blank, Ida Blyman, Louis Kaplan, Bessie Chasman, Saul Chetlin, Sarah Jean Cohen, Henry Cohen, Ida Lebo Cohen, Erwin E. Colton, Helene Fleetman, Charles Freed, Sarah G. Friedman, Richard Glaude, Pearl M. Gollum, Florence Gollum, Max Green, Irving Hartman, Hedwig Hauser, Anne Hendel, Rose Herbst, Sidney Kaufman, Harry Kent, Virginia Klein, Rebecca Kohnberg, Samuel D. Kramer, Fanny London, Esther Meolo, Patricia Mallet, Grace McMillan, Harry Motzman, Bruce Nadler, Herbert Novice, Murray Perelman, Abraham Podolsky, Marion Ross, Benjamin Rothberg, Harry Rubin, Maurice Schneirov, Stephen Schwager, Alan Schwartzberg, Raina Shamus, Isidore Shapiro, Nathan Red Simon, Henry Swisco, and Archie Weiss. Memory be for us an everlasting blessing. Words of Kaddish Yatom, our mourner's Kaddish, are on page 294. And if there are others you are remembering this Shabbat, I would invite you to add their names to the names of loved ones we have shared. We rise in support and solidarity as one community as we affirm words of mourner's Kaddish. Yit Gadal V'Yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah Be'alma Divrach Hirutei V'Yamlich Malchutei B'chayechon Uvyomechon U'chayei D'chol Beit Yisrael Ba'agala V'Zman Kariv V'Imru Amen. Yehei Shemei Rabbah Mevarach Le'olam L'Almei Amaya Yitbarach V'Yishtabach V'Yitpa'ar V'Yitromam V'Yitnaseh V'Yithadar V'Yit'aleh V'Yithalal Shemei D'Kudsha Barich Hu Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'Shirata Tushbechata V'Nechamata Damiran Ba'alma V'Imru Amen. Yehei Shalama Rabba Min Shemaya V'Chayim Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael V'Imru Amen. Oseh Shalom Bimramav Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May God, who makes peace in the highest of heavens, make peace for us and for all who mourn this evening. And together we say,
Amen.
Amen. You're welcome to be seated. A special thank you to everyone who has joined us for services this evening, from those who participated, Addie and Ben and Anna and the adults around you, to everyone who has joined us on this cold evening. I am grateful for your presence. To those who have joined us in the virtual space, we welcome you as always. Student Cantor Sierra Fox, it is a blessing to have you in town with us throughout the weekend as well. And I would invite you to turn with us to page 341, for there we find words, Lo Alecha, a closing song this evening, reminding us that it's not our duty to complete the work that needs to be done in this world, but neither are we free to desist from it.
Lo Alecha halacha ligmor, ligmor. 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 V'lo hata ben chorin, v'lo hata ben chorin, v'lo hata ben chorin, lehibatel mimena, mimena. Lo Alecha halacha ligmor, ligmor. Lo Alecha halacha ligmor, ligmor. Lo Alecha halacha ligmor.
Shabbat Shalom.